Okie dokie. So good noon to you. Day 23 of our 30 days. Yeah, it's a great journey, and I thank you to walk all together on this journey. So sitting in a comfortable position, we're going to do a little bit of breathing to start. So make sure that when you're seated, that your spine is long, so that the front part of your body is relaxed and can move. Because sometimes, and I'm talking for myself here, because of my scoliosis, when I'm sitting down, I always have to hold my spine because I'm totally crooked. So for me, it's very difficult when I'm sitting like this, cross-legged. So I'm gonna move and I'm gonna sit on my knees. So whatever works for you, explore, maybe not now, but on another time, maybe explore what is the most comfortable for you. Of course, if you have knee problems, this is not great. You can always sit on a chair. So let's start. Place your hands onto your thighs. Eyes open, eyes closed. Any graduation between that, it's all fine. And let's start by just observing the breath. So maybe you rushed to be here, or if you're looking at the video, you started the video and you were not totally ready. So let's take a couple of breaths to arrive. So not changing anything, just being with your breath. And if your mind is wandering, focus on your inhale and focus on your exhale. So just observing, not changing anything for now. And now, as you're observing your breath, just look to see if your breath is a little bit more into your chest. If it's going all the way down from into your belly. If it's short, if it's long, if it's fluid, if it's scattered. It's just an observation. So it's not a questioning why and again or a judgment. It's just an observation. Just so we know where we are. Sometimes it's good to know where we are in the now, and then we can work towards something. And then let's see if we can lengthen the inhale. So if you like to count, you can count for yourself to 4 as you inhale and also 4 as you exhale. If 4 is too long or not long enough, you adjust. Don't block your breath. So we never fill up the lungs to 100%. We just go hovering 80%, and then very slowly you can exhale again. And as you're slowing down your breathing, observe if the quality of your breath is changing. And then place one hand on your belly. And without changing anything to your breathing, observe if you feel any movement in your belly. And if you don't force. As you're getting more and more relaxed, the breath will be longer and longer. It's a natural reflex from our nervous system as we're stressed or in a hurry or we just did something in a rush. to focus the breath in the chest. So the breath becomes much shorter then, because we need more oxygen. So as you place your hands on your belly and continue to deepen your inhale and lengthen your exhale, see if you can feel the belly slowly starting to move, maybe up and down. So inhaling, belly rises, exhaling, belly goes back down. Let's do 3 more breaths here with our hand on the belly and see if you can relax your belly. So very often we're holding a lot of tension into our belly, and I would even say more for women than for men, because we think that we have to have a flat belly all times. So see if you can just let go into your belly and really push the diaphragm down as you inhale, so your lungs expand and the belly expands. And then keep your hand on your belly and place the other hand on your chest. So just above your breast, really in the middle of the chest. And now inhale, see if you can feel the air starting in the belly, and then feel your chest rising. Most of the time we feel much more movement into the chest. So just observing. Slow breaths. Without collapsing in the spine. It's the soft tissues of the belly and the expansion of the ribs that we feel now. And take both your hands off. Remember the softness of your belly, because so as I said, we're going to focus a little bit more on the core today because it's a request. For me, the core is always active, and I don't mean tense. It's always present in everything I do. So we are going to focus a little bit more today really on the core, whether it's the front, the side, and eventually the back as well. The last one we're going to do for the breath, to just finish up beautifully, we're going to place the hands just where the floating ribs start. So you have your sternum that ends here, so the big breastbone. And then with the fingers, you draw to the side. Your thumb is to the back, your fingers are to the front. And then we're going to inhale and expand to the side. So see if you can feel the breath there. Don't stop breathing in your belly. So the breath is a little bit deeper. So we're only going to take 3 more breaths like this. If you get dizzy, go back to a natural breath. And then coming back to center. So if you're cross-legged, come onto your knees and we're going to expand in the back. We're going to, as we started, I think yesterday or the day before, come into a child's pose. So comfortable child's pose, but if you can, keeping the knees together. We want to have some restriction now in the front. So we've just been breathing in the front of our body. And now we want to put our belly onto our thighs. And maybe if the forehead doesn't touch easily, then place a block, place your forehead on the floor. If you have knee issues, place blankets behind your thighs on top of your calf, and then you're sitting higher. And maybe you want to use then your forearms as your pillow. So you don't want to have a bend into the neck, because then the breath is going to be restricted. So from there, instead of focusing on the belly, instead of focusing on the chest, we're going to inhale and open the back. So expanding in the back ribs. So another 5 deep breaths here, and then we'll start moving. So keeping that long breath. If you like to count when you're breathing, continue doing that. Maybe you just want to be with the breath. And then slowly coming up. So as we all know, our abdominals, our core is really a very important part of our body because it's going to keep us very stable. If you relax into the core, most of the time you're just going to collapse. You're not going to breathe properly anymore. You're not going to stand properly anymore. So it's really connecting everything. So the most known work with the core is, of course, plank. We're not going to do plank. We're going to come onto our forearms. So we're going to do a plank onto our forearms. If that's too much for you, you can just drop your knees. Don't bring your knees closer. Otherwise, you don't do anything. So come into your plank first and then drop your knees. Otherwise, stay onto your forearms. Roll the shoulders back. Press your heels back and bring the tailbone towards your heels. Don't worry, we're not going to stay here for 100 breaths. We're going to stay here for 7 breaths. So see if you can find that long breathing again. If it's becoming too much, gently drop your knees, but don't give up into your core. So continue working with the core. You should feel work. I just want to bring the attention to where the abdominals is, but also in the back. The back should be working almost as much as the abdominals now. And after your 7 breaths, bring the knees down, walk your hands back a little bit, stretch out the fingers, and then push your hips back. So now you can relax the belly, but don't sink into your lower back. So relax the belly. So if you want, you can move a little bit in the belly and push your hips back, press your hands down. Inhale, exhale. Now come back to the front, tuck your toes, and just hover your knees above the floor. So it's a preparation for downward dog. Can you feel the importance of the core here? Or are you just working purely with your arms and with your legs? But can you feel what's happening with the core? Can you see if you can activate your core and what difference it's going to make? And then bring your knees back down. Come all the way up. Coming onto our knees. So the knees are as wide as the hips to be a little bit more stable. You can tuck your toes if you want even more stability. And then let's lift the arms up. So watch out that you don't kiss your ears with your shoulders. Roll the shoulders back, bring the elbows back. Take a breath in and then slowly go over towards the right. So you're on your knees, so you're probably a little bit more constricted than if we're standing up, but we have both our arms parallel to each other and we're starting to go to the side. So if you're now collapsing totally into your core, you're gonna really go far. Maybe you feel more stretch, but we're not so much looking for a side stretch. We're looking for strength into the core, into the side core. So with your arms up, this is an extra weight. Take a breath in, lengthen, and maybe go a little bit further. And then as you come back up, don't swing up. Very slowly activating your core. So really activate the core muscles and then come back up. And exhale. Inhale up. Lengthen again. Watch out with your arms and your shoulders and your ears. So roll the shoulders back, shoulder blades down. That just gives a little bit more stability in the spine. Inhale, slowly with control going to the other side. As you inhale, maybe you can find a bit more length, but don't compromise the length for the strength in the abdominals. Inhale, lengthen, maybe go a little bit further, but make sure you can still keep that long breathing. And exhaling. And then slowly, with the power of your abdominals, coming back up and exhale. So staying here, we're going to bring the right leg to the side. Your right toes are pointing forward, and then bring your left hand down. So if this is way too low for you, by all means, take a block or a book or whatever you need. And now, before we do anything, push your hips forward. So your hips are on the same level as your knee, as your left knee. You can keep your hand onto your right hip, or you can reach your right arm up. And then, now we're working the side. Lift the right leg up. Just a little bit. If this is too much, just hover your toe above the floor. Lift it up. Maybe lift it up a little bit more. And then slowly coming back, both knees together, or with a little space in between. So again, hands onto the hips, left foot goes towards the side. Inhale, reach the arms up, bring the right hand down. So you can choose whether you want to keep your left hand on your hip or reach it up. But first, let's push our hips forward. And then lift your left leg up. Push those hips forward. And then very slowly, with control, bend your left knee and bring both knees together again. Now, coming back into our downward dog. So I'm moving a little bit to not put too much or stay too long onto our wrists, because I know that's a heavy weight for some of you. So let's tuck the toes, and this time come into downward dog. So press into your hands, roll the shoulders back, bring the elbows to the back, push your head between your arms. The eye of the elbow is going up. The shoulders are widening, finding that width into the upper back. And then your knees are still bent. You want to lift your hips up and then push your right heel down. So just have a look internally at your abdominals. What's happening with your abdominals? Are they doing something, or are they just there waiting to do something? I'm not going to tell you what they should be doing, because everybody's different now. And then change sides, stretch out your left leg. And then bring both heels up, lift your hips up again, and this time activate the core. Activate the core, press into your hands. We're gonna bring our belly a little bit closer to our thighs. My knees are still bent, so I can get a little bit closer to my thighs. I'm activating my core. And when I'm talking activating the core, I'm actually meaning here, activate the abdominals. Sorry for that. And then exhale, lengthen your legs. So if you feel that by lengthening your legs, your pubic bone and belly button come closer, meaning your lower back is rounding, you're going to keep your knees gently bent. Now lift your right leg up. And now comes the core work. Bend your right knee and bring the right knee towards the front. So my knee is bent. I want to keep my knee close to my chest, and I'm going to move my shoulders above my wrists. So if your abs, it's your abs that are going to help you to move the knee closer to your chest. And then lift up your right leg back, coming back into your downward dog with the one leg up, and then bring the right foot down. Now we're going to do the same thing with the left, lifting the left leg up, bend your left knee, and very slowly activate the core. Bring that left knee close to your chest and then move forward. My spine is rounded now, that's okay.
Move forward. Hold that leg up. And then inhale, press into your hands. Bring the left leg up and bring the left foot down. And then slowly this time walk your feet towards your hands, towards the front of your mat. Exhale, fold forward. So if you need to bend your knees so that your lower back is at peace, please do so. You don't want to overstretch the lower back. Drop your head, really let it loose. Grab the opposite elbows. Now your abdominals are totally relaxed. We want to also relax in the hips so we can really drop that upper body. Take 2 more breaths here. And then very slowly start to walk your hands up your legs. So walking my hands on my tibia, I'm starting to lengthen my spine, reaching my sternum forward, my heart forward. My hands are coming onto my thighs. My legs are straight. Here, your legs have to be straight. So if you need to move your upper body higher, you go high. Roll the shoulders back. Activate the abdominals here. They are the ones that are going to protect your lower back in this position. So activate the abdominals. So here we're not going to use supports as we do in the other days. We're going to roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Is your core strong? Then maybe you can reach your arms out. So one arm to each side. I'm just going to take a step back. I'm too close to the wall. If you want to go a little bit further, but watch out that your lower back doesn't start to compensate by rounding. It's the same movement as in downward dog when your hamstrings are too short. Reach your arms forward. Feel how your core is actively working here. If this is too much, you come back to the side or you come back with your hands to your hips. See where you're at in this moment. And then bring the arms to the side. So even if you had your hands to the hips, bring the arms to the side. And activate the core and very slowly start to lift. So if you feel that you're pulling on your lower back, then you bring your hands on your hips. Otherwise, bring the hands on the side and start to work with your legs, work with your core to lift yourself up and then release. Do you feel your core? I already feel it. So let's come into our mountain pose. So mountain pose, we're just going to start from down and going all the way up. So lift your toes. And as you lift your toes, feel your kneecaps lifting, feel your quadriceps activating. Feel the arches of your feet also very active. So keep all that activity, but bring your toes back down. And now inhale, activate the core. So what I mean now by activating the core is the belly button goes slightly in. It's not like this. It's slightly going in, and then see if you can lift up without curving the lower back. So you want to keep your lower back neutral. By all means, use your hands, see what happens. So lifting up, as you lift up, your sternum lifts up. Your shoulders, roll them back. Shoulder blades are going down. And then your arms can just be on the side. Lengthen the cervical spine. So your neck, you can use your hands to do this. The neck pushes onto the skull. As you push onto the skull, maybe your chin comes slightly forward, and then bring your hands back here. So my core, we're focusing on the core here. And then inhale from the heels all the way up to the crown of your head. See if you can grow a little bit more. See what has to stay active. It's actually the whole body that's quite active, but not stiff. Feel that difference between stiff when you're like frozen and stiff and active where you can still breathe. And now just for the fun of it, releasing the core and see what happened with your whole posture. I think that's one of the best ways to explore how the importance of the core. So let's find our mountain pose again. And then inhale, reach the arms up. And we're basically going to do the same thing as we did on our knees, but this time it's going to require probably a little bit more core work. So stay in your mountain pose, this time with your arms up. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, shoulder blades down, and then exhale, go to the side. Inhale, lengthen. So reach your arms out. Exhale, go a little bit further. Activate the core. Lift your kneecaps. Stay active as if you were in mountain pose, but it's a crooked mountain. Inhale, exhale. And then with the strength of your core, inhale, come back to the center. Stay here, lift your arms up, and then go to the other side. So we're not just collapsing in the pose. We do this movement now with a lot of control. So going to the other side. Inhale, lengthen, find that length also in your core. Exhale. And then with the power of your core coming back to center and release. Bring the hands onto the hips. We're going into a balance pose. We're not going to do the tree because the tree you use support from the other leg. So we're going to do another balance pose today. I have no idea what's the name, but you'll feel it. So come into your mountain pose. Bring the weight to your left leg. And as soon as you bring the weight, or very often we're collapsing in the hips. So press into your supporting leg. And then bend your right knee, flex your right foot. I'll go from the side for a moment. Flex your right foot and push into your supporting leg. Activate the core. The stronger your core in balancing, the more balanced you will be. The calmer your mind, the more balanced you will be as well. Place your right hand on your right knee. And then very slowly start to open the right knee towards the right. So I'm not twisting in my hips. I'm keeping my core very active here. I'm flexing my right foot. If you want, you can extend your left arm and look towards the left. But that's not the most important. The most important is staying focused on your core. If you collapse, what's happening to your pose? Are you starting to wobble? Explore. And then slowly coming back, bring the left hand on the outside of the right thigh, the right hand on the right hip. I'm still quite active in my core. And I'm bringing my right leg over to the left. Flex your foot. Again, if you want to go further, you can reach out your right arm, but don't collapse in your waist here, in your core. And then coming back to center, both hands on your hips, the knees still lifted. And now press your heel away. Press that heel away. Lift your leg maybe a little bit higher. And then slowly come down. Take a breath or two. And then let's go to the other side. So weight onto the right leg or the other leg, depending which one you did first. Don't collapse. Lots of strength, active core. Lift your left knee, flex your left foot. Find your mountain pose here. Left hand on your left knee and start to open up. So again, we're not collapsing everywhere. We want to continue. Even if you stay less long, see if you can get that feeling of the importance of your whole body working. We're now especially focusing today on the core, but then again, if you want to reach your right arm out, maybe look over. Coming back to center with a lot of control, thanks to our core. Right hand on the outside of the left leg, and then closing towards the right. And then coming back, both hands on the hips and press your heel away. And in this pose, we can always go a little bit higher than what we think. We're not gonna hang back. You wanna really work the core so your shoulders can stay on top of your hips. And then slowly coming down. And now shake it out a little bit. So let's come to the front of the mat. Again, mountain pose. Take a breath in and a breath out. Bring the hands onto the hips and take a big step back with your left foot so that you come into your warrior two. Warrior two feet. So right toes pointing forward, left toes slightly in. Your hips, your shoulders are aligned and your hips are parallel with the side of your mat. So no word about the core here. Where are you standing? Are you just waiting to do something? Is your core collapsed? So again, activate the core. See if you can find some length in the waist and then extend your arms. And now really activate the core. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, start to bend the right knee. Press the ball mount of your big toe into the floor. Activate the core. See if that helps you to stay more stable into this pose. Press the outside of your back foot into the floor. So by the strength of your legs, you're going to be able to really activate the core, maybe to lift the chest a bit more. Extend your arms from the armpits. Turn your gaze towards your right hand. Activate the core. Turn the front palm up and an inhale, lift your front palm up. Exhale, come back. And now from the core, from your legs, press yourself up. And then come back. So continue focusing on the core, even if that's not the most important. The anchors are in your legs, but you want to continue focusing on the core. So both legs are straight. Reach your right arm forward as much as possible. So we're reaching forward, reaching forward. What's happening with your core? I'm repeating the same thing, but so activate the core. Maybe that's going to give you a bit more length into the spine, and then bring the right hand somewhere on your right leg. Lift your left arm up, open up. So see if you can open up a little bit more to the side. Maybe you can go a little bit more down. But if we start to lose that action in our core, our spine is going to start to make all kinds of turns. We're going to have like a C. Our belly might fall forward, or we might go back, and we lose the integrity of the pose. So triangle pose is a very beautiful pose, but it's a difficult one. There's lots to think about. And then bring both your arms. So let go of your leg with the right arm, both your arms in one line, and then with the strength in your core, coming back to center. Bend your front knee, lift your right toes, and turn them back in. And I turn the left foot out. So we're in warrior two, or warrior two legs, distance-wise on the other side. Readjust your hips, lengthen the arms from the armpit, activate the core. Start to bend your front knee, press the outside of your back foot into the floor. The ball mount of the left big toe pushes down. Open your hips, activate the core. Maybe you feel like you're growing a couple of millimeters. Gaze at your left hand, strong legs, active core. Turn the left palm up, and then inhale, reach up. Exhale, come back. Press into your feet. Come, lengthen both your legs. And then exhale again. Bend the front knee, the left knee. Inhale again, lengthen both legs. And now exhale, reach forward. Active in the core. And come into your triangle. So see if by activating in the core, in the abdominals, you can maybe lengthen your upper body a little bit more. Maybe you can even go a little bit more to the back with the right side of your body, because your core is holding you here. And then very slowly coming back, bringing both hands on the hips, bend your front knee, bring the toes towards the front. So the toes are slightly, I'm slipping here. The toes are slightly pointing forward, slightly pointing in. Your legs are wide, fingers are in your hip crease, so in that soft part. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Don't push your belly button forward. So we don't want to excessively curve into the lower spine. Inhale, exhale, go forward. If your core is active, and now I'm also talking about the lower back, if that's all active, you will feel very stable. Your legs are stable. See if you can lift your kneecaps. And we're going to do the same thing as we did with the legs together. So if you're okay, reach your arms to the side. If you're okay, reach your arms to the front, activating the core. And then slowly bring the hands back onto the hips. My spine is still straight. I'm reaching my heart forward. I'm going to have strong legs, but what's going to help me is my abdominals here. So not so much the lower back, but the abdominals strong. And then you can lift up. And coming back. Shake it out. So I hope you're doing fine. It's not a traditional yoga class. I realize that. But someone asked for abdominals. So we're going to do one more standing, and then we'll move to the floor. So, and we'll add a twist here. So when we are going into our chair pose, very often what happens, like, yes, you want to push your hips back, but what very often happens is that I don't have a lot of curve in my lower back because I have fused vertebra, but very often what happens is that we're pressing those vertebrae together. The belly button goes forward because we think we have more stability and more strength as we do that. We have to keep the spine neutral and activate the core, activate the abdominals, so that we can, with this strong, we can maybe go a little bit deeper. Yes, the legs will work much harder, but in a safe way. So it's safe for our lower back, especially that. So bring your big toes together if you can. If your knees are knocking, keep a little bit of distance. Eventually, as we bend our knees, it's okay that your knees are together. They will support each other. If it hurts, you can always put a tiny blanket or a towel between your knees. So from here, first bring your hands to your hips and start. The first one we're going to do, we're just going to bend the knees. So as you bend the knees, so don't push your hips back, just bend the knees. So big flexion in the ankles. You probably don't see your toes. Your shoulders are above your hips, maybe your hips above your heels, and it's quite comfortable. There's not a lot happening except maybe in the quads. So press yourself back up. Take a breath in, roll the shoulders back, elbows back, and then start to push your hips back without the curve in the lower back. So keep your spine neutral and start to bend your knees. You might think, oh, I'm going to fall back because the weight is coming onto your heels. So bring your arms forward as a counterweight, but keep the core active. Keep the core active. If you're okay, you can bring your arms overhead. The core will have to work a little bit more here. Let's stay here for 2 more breaths if you can. If you're starting to compensate with the lower back, then you come up. Maybe a little, maybe totally. And then press into your feet and come back up and exhale. So as I said, we're going to add the twist here. So same position, reach the arms up or here or here. You have to know where you were before. You can always adjust the arms. So I'm starting with my arms up. I'm starting to bend my knees, push my hips back. I'm finding my stability. I'm pushing my knees together. I'm really pressing my thighs together, pressing my hips together, activating my core. I know I'm speaking like I'm coaching an Olympic player or something. I don't know. Reaching up. And then exhale, start to turn towards the right. Bring your left hand on the outside of your right thigh and your right hand in the back. Roll the right shoulder back, shoulder blade down, and open up. So keep that core active. We're not going to go down with the elbow here. We're going to work a little bit higher so we can focus on the core. Roll the back shoulder, the upper shoulder back. See, you can look forward. You can just look the direction of your breastbone. That's fine. But keep the core active. Keep the hips where in line with your knees. And then press into your leg and slowly come back up. Inhale, exhale. Other side, reach your arms up or whichever position works for you. Exhale, start to bend your knees, activate the core. Your core is going to really help you to feel supported. Exhale, turn towards the left, right hand on the outside of the left thigh, left hand in the back. So my left shoulder will automatically fall forward. So I'm rolling it back and I'm bringing my shoulder blades to my left shoulder blade towards my hips. And then I'm going to go down a little bit and then opening up, activate the core. Keep on breathing. Forgot about that. Two more breaths here. And then slowly coming back and reaching up. And release. Shake it out. So let's come. We're going to slowly move to the floor. So you can move to the floor with your feet a little bit wider than your hips, your toes out, your hands on your hips or in the front, shoulders back, and then slowly coming down. Maybe you need a little bit of release in the legs. So just moving gently from side to side, lifting one heel, the other heel. And then let's come and sit. So the traditional yoga pose for the core is boat pose. It's a hard pose unless you have really good abs. For me, the difficulty is that my tailbone is not in the center, so I'm constantly balancing on way too many bones there. So I'm sitting on something. So the most important thing is to keep the spine neutral. So again, we don't want to start to round the spine here. And we're just going to do one time because we've done quite a lot on the core. But if you really want to practice your core, you're going to practice this pose. So roll the shoulders back, bring the shoulder blades down, hold your hands behind your thighs, come back just a little bit. And then start with lifting one foot. So I'm trying to have my knee and my ankle in one line and my toes are pointing up. And then maybe you start the other. I'm still holding on to my thigh. I'm gonna open my chest. I'm gonna activate my core. If I'm falling back, just smile, laugh, whatever. If this is not comfortable, just come back and go maybe a little bit lower, keeping the heels just hovering above the floor. If you're okay here, maybe you can let go of the hands to the side. You can also maybe lengthen out your legs, but I'm not going to do that because I'm already wobbling on my tailbone here. So lengthening, lengthening, lengthening the spine. Whew. And then release. Now let's come onto our backs, bring the knees into the chest, release. Place your feet on the floor as wide as your mat. Place your hands onto your belly and take a couple of deep breaths in. In the belly, exhaling. So no tension now in the belly, just letting go. And then gently opening the arms to the side. We're going to continue releasing a little bit in the belly. So don't hold anywhere. Just move your knees from side to side. So my feet are as wide as my mat. And I'm just moving my knees from one side to the other, just releasing. And can we do one more? Which I actually wanted to start with, but so in the Shivananda school of yoga, they practice 12 poses. And I think this one is the first or the second one, which is more the core work. So first of all, place your palms down, your arms alongside your body, press gently into your feet, and then bring your hands underneath your bum. So this is just to protect the lower back so that your lower back is not going to round and come up and round and come up. So we create some kind of stability in the lower back. Lengthen both your legs. And now, as you inhale, lift your right leg up. So you don't want to swing it up. You want to weight control. We're not going to go excessively here in a number of times. We already worked quite a lot. And then bring it back down as you exhale. Go the other leg. Inhale, exhale. Let's do 3 more each side. So focusing on the breath here. And then if you're comfortable, the next 3 you can do with both legs, or the next 4, let's say, so that if you do it with one leg, you have 2 each side. So hovering as you come down. And if you have your hands underneath your bum, you will understand why they're there. It's to really stop that pushing of the lower back up and down. And then after the last time, just come back down, bend your knees, lift your bum, take your arms away, bring your arms alongside your body. This time the palms are facing each other, and bend your elbows, fingers are pointing up. So we're just going to stretch out the belly a little bit. It's also some work, but it should stretch out the belly. So press your feet down, start to lift your hips up. So you can gently roll over to the right side, to the left side, and roll your right shoulder under, and then do the same, roll onto your right side, roll the left shoulder under, and then press your hips up. And now we're just going to see if we can have a relaxed breathing in the belly. I know often this is used as a strengthener as well, but let's see if we can find some relaxation here without collapsing in the hips. So if this is too much, if you're tired now, just lay down on your back, separate your feet as wide as a mat, and continue that windshield wiping with your knees. So big belly breath here. And then slowly coming all the way down. Let's lengthen out the left leg to the left corner. Lengthen out the right leg to the right corner. Maybe flip-flop your feet a few times from side to side. Your hands on your hip bone, so you might feel that the movement actually comes from your hips as you flip-flop your feet. And then let them flop out. And then let's bring our hands underneath our head. So interlace your fingers. Push the skin of your skull away from you. And then come down, press your head down. So your chin will be a little bit closer to your chest, but you can still breathe. Bring your arms out, so halfway between a T and close to your body, or anywhere that's comfortable for you. And maybe you want to roll one shoulder under and then the other shoulder under. And if that's too high, then you wiggle yourself out to a comfortable pose. And now let's take a deep breath in. And exhale, sigh out. Let that belly drop down. Inhale in. One more like this. And slowly
start to let go. You probably feel a bit more tension into your belly, into your abdominals. So focus on releasing a little bit more there. So how do we focus and release at the same time? You can do that with the breath. As you exhale, let go. Stop holding. Sometimes we don't even know that we're holding. Release your forehead. Release your jaw. Feel your eyelids heavy, resting on your eyes. Release your eyes as if you're looking backwards. Release your ears, your nose, the skin around your nose. Relax your tongue and your lips. Feel your head heavy, supported by the floor. Release in your throat, your neck. Release in the shoulders, nothing to hold now, just let them drop down. Release your arms, let the floor support them. Feel your back touching the floor at its natural curves and let go. Release in the chest. And release again in the belly. Feel your hips heavy. They don't have to hold you now. They can just be on the floor, resting. Release. Release your legs, your knees, your feet, your toes. Trust the earth that it's supporting you. Let go. So I want to invite you to stay here in this restoring pose after a different practice for as long as you need it, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. If you need to get out, to leave the practice, slowly scan your body from your toes all the way to the crown of your head, slowly waking up each and every part as we just released each and every part. So do that, take your time. And when you're ready, take another deep breath in and exhale through the mouth. And as you exhale, bring the knees into the chest. And then gently rolling over to your right side, making a pillow with your right arm. If the right side is not comfortable for you, by all means, go to the left. And then coming up to a comfortable seated position, or just staying where you are. Gently tuck your chin without dropping your head. A sign of humility, a sign of calming the frontal brain, bringing it a little bit lower. Bring the hands in front of your heart. Observe your breath. Observe your body. Observe your mind. And observe your heart. Thank you all for sharing your practice, sharing your time, sharing your energy. I wish you a wonderful day. Namaste.